Welcome to your daily 5-minute crypto brief with Satoshi and Nova. Today is July 20th, 2025. I am Nova.
I am Satoshi.
Today we're digging into the last 24 hours in the crypto world. We'll cover market moves, some key policy developments, and, the industry headlines you really need to know about.
Exactly. Our goal here is simple. Cut through all that noise, pull out the most important bits of info, and help you connect the dots on what's actually impacting things.
All right, let's get into it. So, the general market mood, I'd say cautiously optimistic over the last day or so. Bitcoin, for instance, hovered around $118,000. It was up just slightly, maybe 0.16%.
Yeah, pretty steady there.
And Ethereum saw a bit more movement, climbing to about $3,610, which is a 1.6% gain.
Right. And most of the other big names, BNB, Solana, XRP, they all nudged up roughly 1% too. Kind of quiet overall for the majors.
But the meme coins, that seems to be where the action was.
Oh, definitely. That was the really fascinating part. Dogecoin jumped around 4%. Shiba Inu gained about 2.5%. And Floki surged almost 4.8%. We even saw a smaller one, WIF, spike nearly 7%.
Wow. So what does that tell us?
Well, it points towards a bit of a risk-on feeling returning, It suggests retail traders were maybe feeling a bit more bullish, rotating into those higher risk bets. Some analysts are even noting that whales, these big holders, seem to be accumulating DOGE again. So, yeah, maybe a little confidence creeping back in.
Okay, interesting. Now, moving beyond the charts, there was some significant macro news playing a role, right? Starting with Washington. These renewed tariff threats. Reports about Trump pushing for 15-20% tariffs in a potential U.S.-EU deal.
Yeah, that definitely caused some ripples. When that kind of trade war risk resurfaces, you often see a quick dip in stocks. For crypto, it's, complicated. Bitcoin sometimes acts as a hedge against this geopolitical stuff. But a trade war could also boost the U.S. dollar, tighten liquidity, which isn't always great for crypto funding. So sort of a double-edged sword there.
Right. And speaking of D.C. drama, what about this situation with the Fed chair? Treasury Secretary Bessent apparently talked Trump out of firing Powell.
That was a big one, yeah. Averted scare is a good way to put it. Look, if Powell had actually been ousted, it would have seriously shaken confidence in the Fed's independence. You'd likely have seen quite a bit more volatility in crypto markets. So Bessent managing to prevent that, it basically stopped a potentially destabilizing policy shock before it happened. Good for stability.
That makes sense. And it ties into the G20 message too, doesn't it? Finance chiefs reaffirming central bank independence?
Exactly. That collective statement from the G20 really helped calm things globally. It reassured investors that, monetary policy decisions would likely remain data-driven, not just political whims. And that kind of certainty, it definitely helps improve risk sentiment across the board, including in crypto.
Okay, let's shift gears now to specific crypto industry news. The CoinDCX exchange hack. That sounds pretty serious. $44 million.
Serious, yeah. A sophisticated server exploit, apparently. But here's the crucial detail for you listening. No customer wallets were directly compromised. The funds stolen were from the exchange's own operational reserves. Still, it's a very stark reminder about counterparty risk. The risk you take when you leave your assets on an exchange.
So keep your funds secure.
Absolutely. It really underlines the importance of security best practices, like using hardware wallets for any significant holdings you plan to keep long term.
Okay. Now, on a more positive note, perhaps, Charles Schwab entering the space. They're planning to launch spot trading for Bitcoin and Ethereum sometime soon. That's huge, right? A $7 trillion asset manager.
Oh, it's definitely significant. Very bullish, I'd say. Their CEO mentioned that their clients, like 34 million of them, already hold something like $25 billion in crypto exposure through other means. So this move, it's not just about attracting new retail money, though it will do that. It lowers the barrier to entry massively. It creates these crucial new fiat on-ramps, easy ways for traditional money to flow into crypto. That signals a deeper, more mainstream acceptance. It's a big step for adoption.
Got it. And one last thing on the events front. This large whale bet. AguilaTrades. Taking out massive short positions against Bitcoin and Ether. We're talking high leverage.
It's really high leverage. About $141 million short on BTC at 20x leverage and $212 million short on ETH at 15x. Combined, that's over $350 million in nominal short exposure. And apparently they're already showing over $2.5 million in unrealized profit. It highlights that some very well-capitalized traders are betting on a near-term pullback.
So should we be worried?
Not necessarily worried, but aware. It's not a guaranteed signal, of course, but it does underscore the importance of watching leverage levels in the market and potential liquidation points. Those large leveraged positions, if the market moves against them sharply, can trigger forced selling and really amplify volatility. So something to keep an eye on.
Okay, so wrapping this all up.
Mm-hmm.
The overall outlook seems, well, cautiously optimistic, but definitely fragile.
I think that's fair. You've got policy stability from the Fed situation being resolved and the G20 message, which acts as a kind of tailwind. But then you have these trade war rumblings as a potential wild card. And institutional integration like Schwab, that's clearly supportive long term. So for you navigating this, it's about managing risk, maybe keeping a balanced approach, and just staying ready for potential swings. Keep watching those macro headlines and the general market sentiment.
It feels like the crypto market is really maturing, doesn't it? Increasingly tied to these global macro currents, but also carving out its own space in traditional finance. Staying informed, staying level-headed, that seems like the best strategy right now as the market kind of figures out its next move. All right, that's our deep dive for today. Expect the unexpected and be prepared for what comes next. Enjoyed the brief? Please like and subscribe. We deliver fresh market updates, macro signals, and crypto news daily in just 5 minutes. Live streams coming soon. Stay tuned.